Hey, good morning, girls. Happy, oh goodness, what day are we on? Wednesday. Um, Chilly, damp morning out here. We've had a couple days of rain. We're freezing out here. Visibility is like zero. We've got the fog in, so you can tell it's that time of year. Time to bundle up and, sit by the fire, grab a blanket, hot chocolate coffee, all that fun stuff. So this morning I want to talk a little bit about giving up and not quitting. Because what I do know, yeah, I really look like I got bedhead today, don't I? Uh, what I do know is so many people, you tend to get going, right? And you're moving on a focus and you're moving ahead, things are going well, and then all of a sudden, you quit. And most people I know, and especially as an entrepreneur, I know that most people tend to quit just before they succeed. And that is sad because I've seen people get going, such momentum, and then there's one setback, but if they would have taken just one more step forward, right around that corner was that success they were looking for. And whatever that definition of success is, it could be something in ministry, in your business, in your family, relationships, whatever it is. You define what that is that you're basically running a race towards. We've talked this week about setting goals, setting visions, moving according to what God wants you to do, living intentionally. But if we're living intentionally, we don't quit. There's so many times, I'm going to tell you right now, so many times that I've seriously wanted to throw my hands up and say, I'm done. And every time I do that, because I listen to what God says, and when He's not done with me in an area, He will let me know, and then I have to step back and reevaluate. But I'm going to share a verse with you today. I'm going to do it out of two different versions. And then we're going to talk a little bit about not quitting, not giving up, keeping that endurance going, and running the race to the finish line as it's laid before you. So we're taking a look today at Hebrews 10, verses 35 and 36. And I'm going to read out New King James and NIV. So I'm going to give you both versions here. New King James, therefore do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. And again, we're talking endurance here. So let's take a look in NIV, Hebrews 10, 35 to 36. Sorry, I'm going to look at the screen because I actually have to pull that up online. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. So what we see here is that we've got that focus. We have that goal. We have that vision. We know where we're going. Now we have to have that endurance. And that endurance comes through Christ. You see, because on our own and in our own flesh, we don't have that endurance to finish the race. We do want to throw up our hands and quit. See, because we're raised in a society that teaches us instant results. We're raised in a society that believes that if I don't get what I want, I throw a temper tantrum. Instead of looking at our goals and our vision and the direction God wants us to go in and move in that direction. Have you been at a place where you want to throw up your hands and say, I quit? Or have you already thrown up those hands and quit? Time to reevaluate that. Because there's many a times, girls, that I've said, I get caught up in the Robin head over here, and I'm like, what point is this? There's no point in this. There's a lot of energy put into this particular goal or task or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of energy and effort put in there, and there's no results coming out. But see, that's because we've been told that if we want something now, stick it in the microwave, push the buttons, and voila, full dinner, right? When how we should be operating is, and I'm going to use cooking because the microwave society mentality really makes it clear on why so many people quit. So if we're expecting that mentality, put it in, run it for 4 minutes, and there's dinner, okay? Or 6 minutes. I don't know what you run it in. I don't use the microwave much here, so I don't know anymore. Or we can do what God has set out for us to do, which is we create the goal. We know where we're going. We have the vision. We can see us accomplishing this set goal. And then the plan of action comes in. And that action may mean, and let's go to cooking because that's a really good visual. Instead of, let's see, what would you buy frozen? I don't know. I don't know what you'd buy frozen because I don't buy it frozen. Okay, spaghetti, because I think there's frozen spaghetti dinners. I'm sorry, I just don't buy that, so I don't know, but it's a great example. So you can do what the world's mindset is: instant microwave, buy it frozen, pop it in the microwave, nuke it for however long it is, take it out, and there you go, voila, dinner, right? Or you can do it strategically, and that's such a big word for cooking, but I think it'll help here. We can get the pasta. We're really ambitious. You can make your own pasta, but get the dried pasta. You get water boiling, put in some salt, because you're supposed to have the water seasoned. Throw the pasta in, cook it for the 10 to 12 minutes it takes, strain it, and in the meantime, you've already started, let's say you're going to make a meat sauce. So you fry up your meat, whatever your meat is, your ground beef or ground pork or ground turkey, whatever your meat is. You get the tomato sauce, or hey, even open a can of ragu and mix that in. Maybe add some fresh mushrooms. Excuse me. Some fresh bell peppers, whatever you want to add to spice it up. A little more garlic, some Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan, because I sat there and one day they had said the shaker Parmesans you buy, there was actually wood pulp in those they were finding. So I decided from there on out I wasn't going to do that. I buy a wedge of Parmesan. I have a grater and I grate it. That way I know what I'm putting in my food. Okay, so you got your sauce, it's bubbling, house is smelling some good. You decide, oh, let's have some garlic toast with that. Okay, so it's not nuked and mushy. So you get a piece of bread, a sandwich roll, or a loaf of bread, whatever you want to do. You're going to slice it open, put some butter on it, get some garlic, whether it's garlic powder or fresh garlic, maybe a little bit of Italian seasoning on it, and then you broil it in the oven, right? A little bit of heat. So in about 25, 30 minutes, you've actually created the same meal that took 4 minutes in the microwave, or 10 minutes. I don't know. Depends on what size, I guess. Which one's going to taste better? Which one is going to have better results? That's going to be the one you made. So see, we need to stop thinking of everything we do in ministry, in business, in relationships is like a microwave. Okay? It is a process. We have to keep stepping. And yes, there are going to be setbacks in it. There are going to be things that are going to, you're going to take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But God is telling us, do not cast away our confidence. Because if we run in endurance, we'll receive the promise. Are you running in endurance? Are you focused on that goal, that vision that God has given you, and you're not giving up on it? Oh, girls, if I gave up on some of the stuff that God showed me, I don't know what I would have done. There were times I really wanted to. There were times that God gave me a vision and a direction, and I said, hey, nobody's coming. Oh, I only have 2 people showing up for this, or only 2 people were interested, or only 1 person was. And all God kept saying to me is, my daughter, focus on the ones that are there. The fruit will come. And so it's hard sometimes, girls. I get it. There's times you just want to throw in the towel and give up. But if God has called you to do something, I charge you to keep going. Overcome the obstacles the enemy will throw in your way. Overcome your fear and doubt. See, because fear can do one of two things. Fear can either freeze you, paralyze you where you're at, and you don't move forward in it, or fear can actually propel you faster through the situation. I know for me, in most cases, fear initially will start off causing me to want to back away. And then all of a sudden, I remember, I'm not doing this. This is Christ acting through me. Keep going. And then I realize, if I keep going and if I stay focused on that goal at the end of the road, I will get there. I will get there in God's time, and we will have God's results. It has been amazing to live my life that way, and I challenge you to really consider living it in endurance and running that race with your focus on what God's called you to do. Don't give up, because there's naysayers, and girls, they're going to be everywhere. Because see, one thing I do know about human behavior is the fact when they see you thriving and moving forward, those that are stuck where they're at and refuse to take action will in turn almost rear up that head of jealousy, and they will try to undermine what you're doing. They will make comments to you to try to discourage you and distract you. They will chatter to other people. They will complain about what you're doing. But if you know God has called you to do something, you keep going. Because my question to you is, and the question I ask myself, who do I answer to? Susie Q. Murgatroyd over there? Or Jesus Christ? Who do you answer to? And sometimes I really have to pause, because sometimes Murgatroyd over here is so loud and obnoxious that I really feel in order to keep peace, I need to back down. I need to quit pursuing what God said to pursue. And then all God does is sit over here and he says to me, what do you choose? Do you choose to be obedient and follow through on what you've been called to do? Or are you going to be afraid of the hornet's nest that might be stirred up with Murgatroyd? Okay, I hope that's painting a clear picture, because I don't really know how to... Sometimes these things in my head I can't get out. But we have to make that choice. If you know God has called you to do something, and you know He's put a purpose in your life, and you are living it, do not let man derail you. The only way that you should shift what you are doing and your purpose and your calling and your gifting is because God says to you, time to move. And see, that's what He did with me. For 11 years after accepting Christ, I was leading women's ministry, or not women, leading children's ministries. Teaching the kids, doing all the activities with them, all of that. And then 11 years into that, God shifted it. And I didn't understand why. I really didn't get it, because I was like, okay, you told me to run the race. You told me to go do this. I'm doing it, but now you don't want me to do it. Now I know how to do it. And God said, no, you're going to shift, and this is where you're going. And I had to process that. I mean, I'm human. I had to process that whole concept and then realize that, okay, if God's telling me to shift, He's got something better for me to work on. And see, we trained up the people to be able to take care of the children's ministry. And that's what we're supposed to do as leaders. We should be training people up to move into leadership roles. we should be coming together. Excuse me. And I think that's why so many times people quit. They think they're doing it all alone. And what happens is they start pushing people away that are stepping up. And as women of God, we need to be lifting these people up. We need to be training up leaders. We need to build each other up. Because see, it's not about Robin, and I'm going to use myself because I have to say this to myself. It's not about Robin doing something. It's about the lives that I can impact for Christ. I don't need the recognition from man. And that's fine. I mean, if I get it, it's okay, but I really prefer not. Only because what that does is when man praises someone, it tends to build them up. But there can be also another side. If man praises someone who is not running their race, it can be a revelation to them saying, oh, I really need to focus on this. So there's a couple of different ways that can play out. But what I look at is the success that I have through Christ comes because I'm not doing it on my own. I don't have to quit because I'm burnt out. I don't have to quit because I'm frustrated. I don't have to quit because I just give up. Because I know if I build up other women and encourage other women like you to step up, to step out in faith, I will never weary. I will be able to run that race to the end because I'm not doing it on my own. Where can you build up other women around you? Where can you encourage them? Don't do things on your own. That's how you don't quit. Now, you don't burden that. You don't want to be corporate mindset mentality. Try to explain that one. Where you don't know how to do something. I'm using corporate, an example that I recently heard from someone, where their supervisor didn't know what they were doing, and the employee was actually more qualified. So the employee is out there shining and doing everything, and the supervisor comes back and says, oh, look at me. Look how grand I am. Look what I've done. Because see, what happens in those situations is eventually that supervisor role will be exposed. And we used to laugh when I did architectural design for many years. And we used to laugh because people would come in and apply with the architect I was working with and say, oh, they knew how to do HVAC and plumbing drawings. And so we all laughed as we're back there working. My main client when I was doing architectural design was actually Carl Karcher. I did the Carl's Jr.'s for him and his wife. And what was funny is we'd watch these people come in. They'd sell themselves so well. And then I remember our lead architect introducing the person to the senior, and it was just funny. The first thing was to give them a simple plan to draw. And you'd find that they didn't know the symbols. They didn't know how to use the slide rule. I mean, there was just a whole bunch of stuff in there. You know, what do I do with this triangle? What's that about? Lettering, how did you letter on that drawing? And we'd laugh because we knew at that point that their resume was phony. So run your race. Run your race with endurance to the finish line with the goal of winning, but don't quit. Run your race in integrity. Because at the end, what the Word tells us in Hebrews 10, for you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep running. Stay focused. We talked this week, and if you missed them, go back. You can find them on YouTube, or they're here in the cafe. Go back and look at the whole vision and goals when we talked about those. Set your vision. Know your vision in your heart. Set your goals, and then take action towards them. Don't quit. Most people quit when they have no action. I hear stories of people that say that, oh, I'm not successful, I'm not achieving my goals. And when you ask them, what do you do when you move forward? I'm doing what I've always done. If what you've always done is no longer working, you have to change it. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So how are you running your race? Are you running your race with purpose and intention? Are you running your race with a goal and a vision that God has given you? Are you running your race with the determination to finish it? And finish doing your best. See, God does not tell us we have to win every time. There's scripture in the Bible that tells us that says that many will run a race, but only one wins. So even if we don't achieve the goal we're seeking, we need to be able to be okay with that. See, we're missing that in society today too. And that's where I think all the stuff is oozing into our walks as Christians if we're allowing that in. Today they're teaching that everybody wins. That's why we see this rioting going on. We see sporting events where everybody gets a trophy. And it's like, wait, we're not teaching people according to the Word. The Word says that many will run, but only one will win. We need to learn how to graciously move through things. And just because you don't win doesn't mean you quit. There's a lot of reasons we quit, and that's what today is all about, is not quitting. Imagine the Olympians. If they didn't win gold, they just quit competing? No. They go home, they work harder, and they come back stronger. That's how we need to be in our walk. If God has called you to do something, then you need to get up and do it. You need to set the goals. You need to look at the vision, and you need to be focused on it. You need to be putting God first in your morning and seeking Him. And then pursuing your goals. Many set goals. Many exclude God from the goals. We did a priorities talk as well this month. Actually, last month. We're in December. Last month, where we talked about setting our priorities. And when someone says they don't have enough time to start their day with God, the question is, where is God in your day? And if you write down everything you do during the day, and honestly write it down for 4 days, and then go back through and put a red star next to the stuff that is time with God or time for you working on your spiritual relationship with Jesus Christ. Where is God in your day? And the majority of people were finding that they were not putting God in the day. The only time that several of the people had God was when there was some kind of emergency. I needed to pray right then and stop. But what if we started our day with God? What if we started our day with some time with Jesus? Can you imagine how you could run your race? How you could reach your goals? How the endurance would be there? The vision would become clearer. The distractions would become fewer. Where is God in your day? And yes, that has everything to do with you quitting. Because see, in our own and out of our own self, we will quit. a race that we run if we're not seeing results. However, if we have Jesus Christ at the head, the start of our day, our first fruits, we can do anything through him. Let's look at the verse one more time, and let's look at the NIV. And it's Hebrews 10:35-36. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. Persevere. Keep focused. Put God first. And don't try looking at these goals and these visions that God has given you as something you can pop in the microwave and have it instantly ready. See, because God is somebody who works on his time. And I really believe, like our story of cooking spaghetti, that it takes that process and that time and your effort. Yes, we can have frozen spaghetti, open it, unwrap it, microwave it, but it's not going to taste as good as homemade. Don't quit. Keep going. Whatever God has called you to do, persevere, endure, and make sure that he's at the head. If you're struggling in those goals and visions, then girls, look at that each day. Write down your 4 days and ask yourself, honestly, where is God in my day? Where is my time with him? What was the last verse I read? What was the last worship song I sang? When was the last time I just sat and listened? And yes, I do call myself on these same things sometimes. But I really try to make sure that there's God at the beginning of the day and there's God throughout the day. Don't quit. Keep going. Run the race to the end. You've been called and you stand in victory. Remember that. Because of the blood of Christ, you stand in victory. Don't be defeated by this world. Set your goals. Keep your vision. Move forward. Endure. And reach that goal. All right? Have a great day. Hope all that made sense for you. Sorry about the spaghetti thing because now I'm kind of hungry. So I'm going to go find me some oatmeal or something to eat. All right? Love you girls. Talk to you later. Bye.